I'm Jim Kuhn. We're here today with 6 outstanding crew members from around the country to talk about working in a McDonald's. I'd like to introduce the panel now.
I'm John McIntyre from West Roxbury, Massachusetts. I've been with McDonald's for about 2 years.
I'm Lee Harriet from Aurora, Illinois, and I've been with McDonald's for 4 years.
I'm Jim Sloan from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and I've been with McDonald's about 2 years.
I'm Fred Cicelli from Monroe, Michigan. I've been with McDonald's for 2 years.
I'm Stanley Helton. I'm from Hateful, Georgia. I've been with McDonald's almost 3 years.
I'm Bob Ross from West Covina, California. I've been with McDonald's 1 year.
Let's start off by talking about some of the good things about working in a McDonald's.
Well, part I like best about working at McDonald's is people. Working at McDonald's, you meet all kinds of people, and people are always interesting, so your job's never boring.
The work isn't really that hard either. I mean, but from doing shakes, working the window, it's not really that hard. I think it's got a good thing.
And you get a flexible schedule if you go to school, and that helps a lot.
You know, you say that the work isn't that hard. A lot of people have told me it's really tough.
Well, the people that tell you maybe they're not all that good at workers or they're doing it wrong. But if you do it right, it's really very simple.
It's nothing manual that you have to break your back to do. It's all just simple. It's nothing real hard, to manage, like to dig ditches or anything like that.
I think it's probably as hard as you make it. If you do it right, then it's easy. If you do it wrong, then it's hard, and it's very hard.
You know, we've talked about some of the good things, but I want to get back on some of the real best things about your job. I'm going to ask you, Lee, what's the very best thing you can think of in your job?
It's a rough one. There's so many good points. Pay is good, flexible hours. The management team that I work with, you can't find a better bunch of guys. Meeting the new people, you could just go endlessly.
So you wouldn't pick anyone best. Anybody got something that they think just stands out really the best?
I think you can get satisfaction from your job. You have a really big guy where you see everybody's hustling, working together as a team. Not just a crew of people who work there, but as a team, helping each other out. And getting the people in and out, having really big hours, I think you get some satisfaction from it. You have to take a professional attitude towards your job.
Some fantastic girls come in the stores.
That's right.
They can't always
Do
be
all you
sure.
know about the new partner system?
No, I've never heard of it.
In the new store personnel program, the idea is a new employee would be assigned to a partner. Guy is specially trained to be a partner and would break him in and make it go a little easier for him, sort of help him break into the fraternity. What do you think about the idea?
I've been a partner, and it works. It helps the guy out a lot. There's things you can tell him that a manager can't, and things you can show him, and things he can ask you that he can't ask a manager.
I think a good idea is having a manager go up and help him do his job. That will show that the manager team is concerned about your employee, concerned about his work, and that's really great.
Yeah, but
a manager help
most of the time.
Yeah.
Manager should make time, I think.
Yeah, but you have...
Not for every
Do you think you should start with a crewman, though, Fred?
Yes.
And then a manager after.
I do too, because the manager puts him on the spot. The manager, he feels real nervous because the manager's, the boss. He wants, do real good, so he's trying his best to do it, and he's trying really too hard.
The new job jitters.
And he'll mess up.
If you're new, then you feel you'd rather have the crewman take you first and then the manager?
Yes.
It's much easier to work with somebody on your own level, your own age, maybe somebody even you know. There's no pressure on you at all.
Well, let's think about that new person. What's the most important thing on their mind? What is that first day like?
Satisfy their boss.
Yeah, right.
I'll get in with the
He
group.
wants to do everything right.
Getting in with a group?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the feel of the place. Get some pressure relief.
Do they care about QSC that first day?
No.
They never heard of QSC the first
It
day.
should have been two McDonald's or something.
That's right.
That's it? That's the only thing he's sure about.
He probably knows where the pickles are and the ketchup is and the mustard is, and that's it. That's what he can do the first day. And then, you can't find the ice machine when someone tells him to fill up the ice. And he's very nervous.
You've seen the yellow orientation booklet?
Yeah, it's very complete. It covers everything.
To the point.
Gives background.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
Somebody said something earlier about appraisal of the management. What about appraisal of the crew?
As a whole or individual?
I don't know. Any thoughts on it?
Well, that's the purpose of the performance review. Is that he started? We've had it in our store since May, we do it every month. The management team gets together and does it, and it's on a 1 to 4 basis. And I think people try. I think they're very anxious to see them. As soon as they're done, everyone wants to know where they are, and they're posted in our store right on the desk for everyone to see.
Everybody kind of wants to know everybody else's business, and they want to know what you're doing and how you're, and consequently they want to better themselves as much as they can. We found it to be quite productive at posting.
I believe that
More detail.
that somebody, like a crew member that's not doing, very good, like before they got these things, I mean, I know a lot of times the manager wouldn't even say anything, just say, well, man, you ain't worth a damn, I ain't let you work my shift, I'm gonna put you on a day manager's shift, and they swap it back and forth like that. But, they don't take the time out to tell him what he's doing wrong and what's gonna happen if he don't improve. They just say, you ain't worth a darn, when they post them, they're gone.
In other words, they just say, this is what you're doing wrong.
One thing I've seen is a guy will go up to his review, and he'll look at it, and he'll see a 4. And his head will drop way down. He'll start to walk off. He'll take 4 steps, and his head will go back up. Because next time, he's going to be a 2 or 1. I don't know. Maybe that's the motivation we need, maybe.
And you post it
Peer
everybody can
pressure.
see them?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Then employees are going to say, well, I'm going to do better than see them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a
That
2 and I only got a
Have
3.
you seen him improve, though? Have you actually seen the guy?
Yes, I've seen him work a lot harder.
There's a space called for remarks for the managers, and a lot of times you see fantastic improvement, keep it up. And I think they usually do. It means a lot to them.
I've heard a lot of complaints like, well, they say I'm slow on meat, but they don't say anything about how fast I open now. I got the opening done in an hour. Things like that,
A lot of people, management people, and some crew people complain about the idea of posting. They say it's none of nobody else's damn business to see my rating up there and something like that. Have you seen cases of that? A lot of management people feel that it'll embarrass the crew and they don't want to do it. Praise in public, punish in private.
I've seen the review go up and a 4 be up on one performance review, and everyone rib the guy. You're a 4, And the guy, rather than get angry and start slugging people, he gets proud. The next time he'll be a 2 or a 1.
That's why you
it
have to
brings
have
out the
almost
pride
every
in
month,
people.
too.
But you only get the grade what you put in your work. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
What you put in is what you get out. If you put in good work, you're going to get that 2 or a 1. If you put in bad work, mediocre, you're going to get 3 or 4.
Why are we having this resistance against posting then? You guys don't
I'm not resistant.
I don't have it in the store.
I
I haven't heard one negative comment from my store about posting it.
Our crew is gung-ho about it. They
Yeah,
think
but
it's
they-
great.
Well, who doesn't like the posting then? If we're getting all this input from a lot of people that say they don't like it.
Maybe some managers that don't like talking to crewmen. Maybe they don't like explaining things.
Maybe they feel guilty.
Why? Why would they?
Could show where they're lacking. Like we've had a space called crew feedback, and I've had people come up to the manager and say, maybe I can do better if I had more training. They'll say, okay, we'll start you on the grill. He's always been a window man. He's been there for 2 months. We'll start you on the grill. And a person will come to a manager and ask for more training is a person that you want to keep. He's worth something. And that's people you should spend time on.
What do you think about the question of job rotation?
How about when you're in the window for 8.5 hours? That's one thing that should be...
Speaking on rotation,
Job rotation.
yeah, a guy's in the window for 8 hours, and by the end of that day, he hates the customer, and that's the attitude you shouldn't have, really.
Mhm.
You should be as fresh as when you start and when you finish. Maybe we can have some sort of system where you can train every employee to work every station. And he can work maybe one day on the fries, next week on the fries, something like that,
Yeah,
and
that
that
kind of
type.
scheduling, too.
And that way he won't get sick of his work.
How do you do that though? Doesn't that run up your labor?
You look
Like-
at 96 meat patties and you're
Why is this
Yeah,
happening?
every-
Why don't we rotate guys?
Because they feel that, that he's the best, like on the meat, for instance, and say he has a good window man. And I guess they feel that that they want the best back there to get the product, the fastest.
If you look at it from the manager's point of view, during a rush, he wants his best meat man working meat, his best bun man working
Right.
bun. Same with window man. And when things do start to slow down, if he still has his best meat man on meat and his best window man on window, maybe he could send a grill man and a window man home. Whereas if he switched those two people and put his, the guy that wasn't as good on window because he works meat all the time, then he's going to have another guy there maybe to make up for it because he doesn't have his best window man there.
Take more interest in the feelings of the, crewman, itself.
Maybe if you could give every employee an incentive to work. For instance, at our store we have let's say from 5 to 6, we do a certain amount of money. They each get $5, the people that's on the floor. And this really gives the crew an incentive to work harder, to move them customers in and get them back out the doors, to serve them what they're being paid to do, to serve the customers. And at $5, they just go wild for it.
You guys do anything like that? We do
Their programs are great.
Something new that comes out, like an orange shake or something like that. Something new that comes out. That we always do that. And, so you can sell the most of it.
In our store, we have this thing called Crewman of the Month, where the management team sits down, gets together, and they rate each person, and then they decide on who really deserves it, who's really been trying, putting out all the time. As an example to other crew people. And the prize is usually 2 tickets to a baseball game. Nothing too much, but it's something. And his name is posted up on the bulletin board. And sometimes people laugh about it, but a lot of people really try. And you have people disappointed when they don't get it.
In the Chicagoland, McCopco region area, there's about 16 stores or so. And every once in a while, the supervisor will grade all the stores, and they'll send out a list of all the scores. And it's amazing how much the attitude of the whole store is raised when you get like a 97, you're at the top of the list.
My region in Detroit, we're having contests. We had one a couple months back for 8 weeks, I think it ran, and we got 5 shopping reports, customer satisfaction. You get some 72, maybe we get one, another one's 90, another one's 80, another one's 90, another one's 100. Whatever, you add them all up, all 5 shops, between, let's say you got 15 stores, 15, whoever's got the highest out of that, gets $2,000 worth of prizes. That each store put in maybe $100 or $200, whatever it was, to add that up. And it's great. The crews just want to be the #1 store to get that plaque that says you're #1. The president, Fred Turner, came to the #1 store and cooked a big steak dinner on a grill for them all.
That sounds like it turns them on.
That's what it was, yeah. He said, well, Fred Turner will be here on the grill to make breakfast for everybody, and that's what they wanted, the president to come to that store. And I guess that's what happened.
Well, what does turn the crews on then? What does? Contest turns on?
Contests, I think. That's great.
Pardon? Competition.
Competition, yeah.
Individual, team, what kinds?
All kinds. Inter-crew competition, window race, or pie contest, or fry contest, and along with other store contests. Who's the best store? If your store, the neighbor store is best.
Why does competition turn you on?
Yeah, you want to be better than the other guy.
Human nature.
I think that's it.
Everyone wants to race with someone else.
Let's talk about management. What are some of the biggest areas where we can improve there?
I think some of the biggest areas we can improve in management is, first of all, getting along with your crew. A lot of times, we're not telling the crew you're doing a good job, or you're keeping your area spotless. If Roy looks good, we're always giving him stuff like, boy, that looks terrible, it looks like hell, something like that. We could give more honesty, though. Be honest above all, and say, you're doing a darn good job,
I don't feel the average crewman thinks he's appreciated for his job.
Yeah.
He comes in and, I've heard of managers who don't even say good morning to their crewmen,
That's that void I was
They're way too impersonal.
lifeless.
That's lack of communication between the management and the crew.
You don't have to be buddy-buddy, but you should take interest in your crewmen, because they're the ones that are doing the job for you. You should appreciate a good crewman. It's a pat in the back once in a while. He'll feel a lot better.
What does he do, though, when he gets that pat?
Oh, I think he'll keep it up. Keep
He
on
smiles and he works a little harder
Feels
because he
like
feels proud of himself.
He feels like it's appreciated.
He knows he's doing
It shows
something
your man
right
is concerned when he says you're doing a good job, instead of just walking by you.
And staring at your area, looking at
Right.
You gotta get the guy off his pedestal a little bit, Come down and say, hey, how you doing, Doing a good
Yeah,
job,
talk to him.
How do you do that? How do you get him off that pedestal?
You got to get the management and even the operator to know the crew that works in his stores. Like if an operator comes in and he doesn't even know anybody that works there, like he owns 18 stores or something, nobody really wants to work for him. They think, I break my rear end for this guy and he doesn't even know my name. And if you work in a store where the operator is a nice guy, he takes an interest in the crew, like, he knows what your interests are. If you like football, he knows about it, and comes in and he asks you how your favorite team's doing or something. You really want to work for that guy. He's a nice guy. He owns your store. He's your boss. But you really like him. You want to work. You want to help him make a profit too. And you know that when he's making a profit, he's gonna, pass it on back to you.
Also, the manager should keep up to date. There's so many new products new equipment packages coming out, new ideas, that he should attend seminars of different operators and different managers and get new ideas and bring them back to his crew.
Wait a minute, though. If he's off attending seminars and does the book work and does all this stuff, where's he get the time to know the crew?
Well, the definition of a manager is get things done through other people. So if he's a good manager, he should have other people getting these things done.
And he'll have time on his hands for the crew.
It doesn't take all that much time just to say hi to somebody, pat him on the back, and make him feel good. It doesn't mean he doesn't have to walk around constantly and being buddy-buddy with everybody. Just a word or two and really do the trick.
You know, this praising thing, you said something, I think, or knowing and praising the guy is, have you seen it go to anybody's head? Has it?
You mean go to the crew member's head?
Does it actually make money for us?
Well, if he's working with a guy and, you know, like the guy knows that the manager thinks he's doing a good job, he feels proud that, you know, hey, this guy's my boss and he thinks I'm doing a good job for
Reflecting
him.
his performance, I think. And feels like he's more part of the team.
Is it some more hamburgers?
Sure. Why not?
Well, if he feels more proud of himself and knows he's doing a good job and he's working window, the next customer comes up, he's not going to say, what do you want? He's going to say, yes, ma'am, may I help you?
I guess
Nobody's perfect.
where it lies is the crew has to respect the manager, and the manager has to respect the crew.
Right. To get things done in order.
Yeah, like for
In a
instance,
good form.
the crew is the manager's bread and butter. If they won't work for him,
He's sunk.
yeah,
It's going to hurt
like
the business.
I think we're talking about the manager here. Now, there's a lot more than the manager that's managing that store. Maybe we got an operator, maybe we got assistant managers, swing managers, so forth and so on. How do you coordinate that? Like you're working the day shift, and then this one guy comes in and he's different. How do you work for different people, and how can people...
Along the same line of different management. I think the whole management team must agree in their policies, because it gets pretty hectic if one manager expects one thing and
You're
another
saying
manager...
poor managements or wherever people, you gotta have to stick together.
Along with the operators and the, or
Definitely.
corporation, whatever you're
think
working
along
for.
the same lines.
You gotta stick together with managers.
Well, we've talked about a lot of things that can improve management, but let's take another perspective. We're all manager for a day. And you've just been made manager, and you guys have all recognized they do have a lot to do. They got a lot. There are a lot of reasons why these things happen. Okay, if you were made manager for the day, or maybe a little longer than that, what would be the first things you'd do?
Spread the workload. I'd pay a lot of attention to job rotation. That'd be the first thing I'd do.
I'd pay a little more attention to the crew than what some of the managers have, been doing. Just like, we talked about before, about, telling a crewman that he appreciates the good job that he's doing or the bad job. He don't appreciate it, but just tell him.
If you have better people working on the floor and you're paying them a little more, that's actually an investment, like you say.
It seems to me that most managers look at raises as an extra expense rather than an investment in their personnel in order to develop them.
I was just going to say you have to pay for quality.
How about exposing more opportunity to the crewmen? And tell them what lies ahead in their future if they stay with McDonald's.
And show them, they say they have a future, that you could have a future in McDonald's, but they never tell you what it is. They just say, okay, a crewman, a swing manager, assistant manager, a manager, and a supervisor. That is if you're with the franchise store. And I think you go on it further. But, you work for 3 or 4 years as a crewman. They don't seem like any kind of future.
Wait a minute, how is telling you about a future going to sell more hamburgers?
Most kids think that their future at McDonald's is making $2 an hour.
Right.
And if they are told about a future at McDonald's, how they can be a personnel manager or whatever they are, they'll take more pride in their job. They'll broaden their scope.
They'll try to do a lot better job.
There are times, I think, when you're a crewman, you feel like you're caught at a dead end.
Right.
And when that happens, you don't want to work as hard as you're capable. And if, like they're suggesting, if there's more incentive, like, about the future, you would work harder. And it's a floating field.
What's that do for the
Sometimes
women?
you just want to quit.
Well, what else can we do to sell more hamburgers?
Well, I think you have to make people realize who are working that it's not just a job slopping hamburgers. You learn about people, and it takes all kinds of people to make up a world. You'll learn how to delegate responsibility, how to accept responsibility. When you're given that drawer, it's yours. You're also learning how to handle money. And I think all these facets of working at McDonald's can be applied later on in life.
And accept responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing you get a chance at McDonald's. If you stay there any length of time, like they'll put you in charge of just one station. Like you're in charge of the fry station, keep it clean. Something like that. That's responsibility. It's helping you.
I don't know if anybody will agree or disagree with me here, but I think the crew makes the McDonald's.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
And to sell more hamburgers in your McDonald's unit, you have to build up your crew. It seems to me that the manager gets so tied up in his paperwork that he doesn't have any other time to explore around. He's got to do his daily stat and his weekly stat and his monthly stat, daily payroll, and all this garbage that ties him down, that he doesn't have time to actually broaden his scope and see exactly what's going on in the store.
Right.
Yeah, I think you have to get him out from behind his yields and profit and losses and this stuff and down to people. Because that's what's in the store.
You ever just try to sit down and talk with your manager? It works.
Mm.
You learn some things.
Well, maybe if the night manager did some of it for him, like the payroll, the daily payroll.
The night manager is there half the night as it is.
Well, he shouldn't be that long. They sort of divided it. He could take some of it off of him. But, don't pack it off on the night man.
Well, how else would you solve it?
Maybe we can figure out a different stat sheet.
Maybe some of the responsibilities should be delegated to an assistant for the stats and things like that.
Remember the crew.
Think the crew could do it?
I don't see why
You
not.
train them.
Right, but if you have a crew member, even one of the night turn crew, say you close at 12 and 11 o'clock, he goes back and to the desk and does book work for a while. That way he's got to work anyway, you're paying him for it, but he's got the chance to do the book work while the night manager can be out on the floor working.
My question is it all necessary, really? Do you need all this garbage paperwork just to pile up month after month?
Do you think so?
I don't really think so. I think one of the real pains is equipment breakdowns and failures. Like how many stores around if the air conditioner isn't big enough,
Right.
and you just sweat.
Our air conditioner breaks down every summer, and it takes a good week to get it fixed.
We're lucky if it only breaks down once. It's usually about 10 times.
I was just out for 2 weeks, and it was misery. 92 degrees at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're going home inside the store. Well, it's very humid.
I think another thing along the line where he was talking about if a piece of equipment that's sort of vital to the regular working of the store, like say a Big Mac gun, like the teeth on the shaft through it get messed up. You usually don't have a spare gun around or anything like that. And if you order one of those, it just takes so long to get it, and the crew's got to kind of struggle with what they've got until it's delivered. And for the prices they pay for the equipment, I think the delivery should be an awful lot faster.
Okay, now what are some of the things that maybe we could improve on? Some of the things that aren't so good about working in a McDonald's?
I think maybe on training. The training program, I think, is probably pretty poor. A guy is hired watching the film strips. He's thrown on the floor. Another employee shows him. The employee that's showing him how to do his job, maybe Big Mac buns, maybe that employee's doing it wrong, and therefore he's going to learn his job the wrong way, the hard way, like he says, like Bob said.
Don't you think those films are pretty thorough, though?
Yes, the films are pretty thorough, yes.
You can't really learn. You can learn the procedure from the films, but you can't really do it right from the films. You have to have this experience.
Those orientation films they have out now, it's really fantastic how they can make the new person feel at home, because they say, you're going to have jitters, and the time's going to go slow, and you're going to have 5 fingers and the whole bit. And this is true. This is what it is. And it really tells a story.
They're giving you the facts right there, too. And that's good.
In our store, we have the projector right in the break area. And a lot of times when you go down and take your break, you throw a couple of films in, and it's good. It keeps you refreshed, and you'll get new films in all the time.
What we do, when you mentioned about the break area having your film strip machine down there, we usually, sometimes, we say, well, you can use a refresher course. Why don't you go downstairs and punch in a half hour early and go down and look at some films. You don't pay them for it. A little incentive part there again, too, in training.
Great idea.
It's follow-up.
It doesn't hurt for an experienced crewman to look at those films again.
Right, that's
That's
true.
true.
do they apply on the floor? Do you feel that you've got what you want to take it on the floor?
Well, I feel that there's no better training than on-the-floor training. There's no better way to be prepared than those films. Those films and the little cards, the job description cards with
How
how to
many of
work
you guys
grill.
have seen those cards? The new cards.
Most of the times the films and the cards are a lot more thorough than just a crewman.
Yeah.
Because he
Combine them with the
gets
crewman.
going so much that he forgets the little things.
What do you think about those cards? Any comments on them?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with Lee. They're fantastic. And one of the most fantastic things about them is you can take them right on the floor with you. And some guy that's second day on the job, if he has a question when he's not busy, he whips it out.
Do you see guys reading them, or
Yeah,
maybe
I've
a
seen
little
guys
embarrassed to
reading
pull it out within them?
They're not embarrassed.
It's the little things included in the cards, like maybe holding your cup sideways so you don't get a lot of foam, or shaking your fry bag so you get the fries in straight. Just a little things that the old experienced crewman kind of overlooks a lot of times.
Let's go on to movies. What about movies? You've seen some of the movies that are available. I don't know if you have any comments on any of these films.
I don't know whether any of you have seen the Pat Paulson movies that they have
Yes.
out,
I've never
but
seen them.
especially the one, The 6 Points of Working Window. I saw that twice, and I was amazed because it's really fantastic. It goes about everything backwards, and the things he tells you to do wrong, and you work there, he says it wrong, but it hits home because the way he said to do it, you do it. And the things he does, the different things in that, like the mechanical window man that says, yes ma'am, thank you ma'am, yes ma'am, thank you ma'am, and it turns and walks away with a key unwinded on its back.
You ever get a chance to see it?
Because I find myself doing that. I greet the customer the same way every time, and just say thank you ma'am, same way every time,
What about some of the other films? Do you have any other?
I've never seen one of those.
Just my
Have you seen any of the movies? How about the one with the sales, the guy where the guy comes in?
The manager appears and he wants to help out.
Yeah.
That one employee that's doing bad.
Are you the only guy that's seen the movies? We gotta have some.
Our entire crew saw that one.
In the whole area of training, what would you fellows suggest to improve our training programs?
I think they ought to make it a lot stronger and almost more intensive. Because when a guy first comes to McDonald's, he doesn't know anything about the hamburger business.
Well, you agree that the manager should help train?
Yeah.
And that's good. It's great, I think.
Because even the experienced
If
crew
you can
member,
find time. How often can he's so wrapped up in his paperwork and meeting customers.
Let's say you first come down the floor and you got maybe one guy starting, why can't you go back there for 15 minutes at least to help him? Just sort of show him around.
Well, you shouldn't bring him in during lunch hour or anything.
No.
That's true.
Just bring him into during a slow period, so you would have time. Normally, you would have time to get back there with him.
The main thing is to be thorough in the training.
Right. Don't put him out there and not know anything. I'd rather take and spend a little money, and train him, investing in him, because what would you rather do? Have him out on the floor knowing what he's doing during lunch hour, or have him out there in the way, messing things up? It would pay off worse because the customers that see him mess up and everything, a lot of them would come back.
Anybody else have something they would do as getting in that saddle? It's a pretty tough job.
I think another thing that, not so much a manager, but from the operator or regional, viewpoint that they should do is organize a lot more sessions like this. Maybe once every 3-4 months between, just pick some crew members in the area, and maybe in the region, in the state, and get them together for a meeting like this with some representative of the company, sort of find out what's going on,
Right.
not just some little thing like this.
I don't know if anybody in the national convention get anything out of this, but I believe we sure have.
Is it going to sell more hamburgers?
It depends on them. I believe. It depends on what kind of reaction they take to it. If they don't pay attention to it, I think it just stay the same.
Isn't it kind of like the old analogy? If you better your football team and you work out your plays and everything, you're going to play a better game. You're going to win more games. Same with McDonald's team. The better you work out your plays and your systems and all your training, get all that down pat, you're going to have a better team. You're going to win more customers and sell more hamburgers.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's really been fantastic. I think I can only say by way of closing that we have had here today 6 of the most outstanding crew members in the country. They have had a lot to say. We won't agree with everything they said, but they've given us so much food for thought. If we can just listen to a small percentage of it, we'll have a lot better stores and a lot more profit and a lot more fun. Thank you.